Hi, so my name is Lauren and I am a PhD chemist who got a job about a year ago, and this is my No Buy 2026 journey. So today I am going to be doing a palette roulette. So you should see a screenshot of the palette as it was being chosen. So I have over about 170 palettes in my collection, maybe a little more, a little less. I don't know, I haven't counted recently. But a lot of them have not been used. I don't know how I feel about them, so I'm hoping to use this project to get a better idea of which ones I should keep, which ones are redundant color stories and I can get away with, give away, so on and so forth. Is this one right here. So it is the Gourmande Girls Peach Perfect palette, and so the inside of it looks like this. As you can clearly see, it has never been used. So this will be the first time that I'm using this palette, so hopefully it will go well for today. Okay. So as I am looking at this palette, what I'm probably going to start off with is putting a little bit of Peach Perfect in the crease, and then I can deepen up with this brown, which is I'm Peachless. Very interesting names for this palette, very cute. And then from there we can go on and figure out what I want to put as the shimmer, but for now I think that's good enough to start. And then as you can clearly see, I have no makeup on, so I tend to do my eyeshadow first, and I'll follow up with my rest of my makeup and then come back and do a quick wrap up at the very end. But as I'm applying this, I just kind of want to ask myself a few questions, figure out some things such as how I feel about this palette, so on and so forth. I'll try not to cover too much up. I'm going to use the mirror in the palette, obviously. It's just a little easier for me to see that way. But as I said, I'm just putting Peach Perfect in the crease for right now. Tends to work fairly well for me. I am a fairly cool toned skin, sometimes a little neutral, but I believe it is cool toned, fairly pale as well, so this shows up pretty well on me, although I am having to build it up just a little bit to get the color payoff that I'm looking for. But essentially, as we're doing this, I do just want to go through and ask myself a few questions, like, why did I buy this palette in the first place? So essentially this was part of a bulk order that I was doing, and I wanted to order from Gourmande Girls. I did not have anything from them at the time, and this is one of the ones that interested me. So on the first order I bought this one, and I believe, hold on just a second, let me check. Yeah, so I believe I also bought Frozen Kiss and Silent Night at the same time that I bought Peach Perfect, because again, I tend to buy more than one palette at a time, just so that way I can not have to pay shipping and handling, or at least that's how I justified it. This one did actually stay on my wish list for a little bit of time before I immediately bought it. So I believe Peach Perfect and Silent Night were on my wish list, and then I ended up purchasing both of them whenever I saw the winter palette drop for Frozen Kiss. I really like the thought process and the concept that they put together there with the blues in winter, and so I used that as an excuse to buy this one while I was buying that one as well. It is fairly unique to my collection. I don't really have a lot of peaches and greens. I tend to go for more blues and purples. So I did like that this brought something new to my collection. As I'm using it, it does seem to blend together fairly well. Not having any issues with the shadows stacking on top of each other or blending together. I did not use an eye base today. I normally do. I have one that I put down, and then normally I will set that. But for today, I just wanted to see how these shadows did on their own. So I'm not using an eye base for today, just to give you an idea. So now that I have those two down, I might go ahead and put just a little bit of one of these greener tones. So this is Peach Please, and I'm actually going to use a little bit more. So we're going to put this a little bit inside of where we put the brown, just kind of have those blending together at the edges just a little bit, and then do the same on the other eye. Just put it there and have them blending together. No issues there. They tend to be able to fade at the edges as well, and there is also a really good skin tone color in this palette for me, so I'll probably use that at the end just to fix up all of the edges and make sure that everything is matching appropriately. But now I need to figure out which shimmer I plan on using for today. So it is still fairly early in the day. I do have a few errands that I need to run. So since it is daytime and honestly pretty nasty outside where I am today, it's raining, cold, not really fun. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go for this one on the bottom, this green with a little bit of a flip. It's called Georgia Peach. It seems to be a little bit brighter, a little bit more interesting. So now I just need to find a packing brush that is clean, which is always the problem that I have. And I will go ahead and spray my brush with a little bit of setting spray just because I'm not sure how this is going to pick up. Like I said, I do have multiple Gourmande Girls palettes at this time, but I haven't really had the chance to use too many of them. I did take Silent Night home for Christmas whenever I went home, and I used that one, and it was a very nice look. I enjoyed that. I'll put a picture up here if I can remember to find one, but essentially worked well, didn't have any issues. But I did want to go ahead and spray this shade because it is looking just a little bit flaky. So hopefully there's not too much fallout, but we'll see. Actually, it's going on pretty smooth, and most of those flakes tend to smooth out on the eye, so no issue there. So again, just gonna do the same thing on the other eye. Impactful as I thought it would be. I might actually add just a little bit more to see if I can't bump up that color just a bit. It does seem to be layering on itself fairly well. No issues there. It doesn't seem to have much of a base though. You can only really see the green shimmer, so that's interesting. I thought from looking at it in the pan it would have a bit more of that base color, but it still looks fairly pretty on top of the eyelid. Now what I'm going to go in and do is just add a little bit of an inner corner pop just to make it a little bit more interesting, because like I said, I thought that green would have just a little bit more impact than what it did. So hopefully this will give me the impact that I was looking for. Yep, looking at it here, that was pretty much exactly what I was looking for. So the same green that I used before, so Peach Please, is the one that I'm using on the inner corner at the moment. And it's working out really well. So yeah, ultimately I am liking how this is looking. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, pick up just a little bit of the peaches in cream color. So again, like I said, that's more of a skin tone color for me. Just kind of take it along the edges, smooth that out just a little bit, make it blend just a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and do the lower lash line, and I can show you the finished look, and we can talk about how I feel about the palette overall. Okay, so I went ahead and finished up the rest of my makeup. As you can see, I went ahead and put some white in the waterline because I did want it to pop just a little bit more than what it was doing. Like I mentioned, it's really nasty outside here today, so I didn't do anything with my hair, didn't feel like it. Apologies if you can see my dog in the corner of the shot. She is very needy. She's only a 5-month-old puppy, so yeah, apologies for her. But yeah, so just want to go ahead and get it finished up. So just gonna push her down a little bit, go down there. Okay, so I am just going to finish up my lower lash line, and then we can talk ultimately about my thoughts on this palette. So what do I want? You know what? I might actually use some of this dark green. So it's Wanna Peach of Me is the name of the shade. So go ahead. I know that most people tell you not to use dark colors on your lower lash line because it tends to bring down the look on your face, but I have found that for me in particular, I do like the look specifically of having something darker on the lower lash line, and then I can buff it out just a little bit with a lighter color. Again, apologies if you can hear her eating her bone in the background. I'm just happy at any point whenever she is entertained with something. So that is going to be the final look for today. So overall, my thoughts about this palette, again, it's the Gourmande Girls Peach Perfect palette. I really like it. It blended well. The shimmers were nice. I will say it was a little bit less impactful for the one that I chose specifically, but it is pretty. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, it might actually be a pretty decent work look, if we're being honest, something that I could just throw on quickly on my way into work in the mornings and is not too dramatic, because I know any look is appropriate for work as long as you're willing to wear it to work, but some days I don't feel like being as adventurous and standing out quite as much. So it's good to have looks like this in my pocket for days that, I just want to do something simple and fast and fit in just a little bit more. But regardless, it blended well. It was not patchy. I didn't have any issues with anything like that. So overall, I will say my experience with the Peach Perfect palette was fairly good. Definitely something that I want to keep in my collection moving forward, and in fact actually makes me want to reach for more of my palettes from Gourmande Girls and see how they perform, because like I said, the only ones that I've actually used that I can remember are the Silent Night palette and then this one. And spoiler alert, I did go back for more palettes from this brand even before I used them. So part of the problem that I am trying to fix is being able to use what I have rather than buying more. So hopefully this will take me down that path of being able to use what's in my collection over buying new things that come out this year. But again, my name is Lauren. Hopefully you have enjoyed this little chit chat that we got to have, and I will be back later with more videos. Thanks. Have a nice day.